Alright, here we go with another painting tutorial. We're looking at the Ork Flashgitz. So these guys are lots of colors, pretty standard Ork colors, just all of them in one model. So to start these off, I assembled them fully, and then I spray painted them a silver, sort of a zenith highlighted silver over a black base coat, and then shaded them with Nuln oil. So that's the base coat I'm going on everything. Just the idea is that now I don't do any silver later. I'm just going to start doing base colors. Now I started doing some orc flesh here, and I really should have just finished off the silver. So you'll see me kind of backtrack a little bit. I do have to touch some of this up. So the idea is that I'm trying to do a silver base on everything, so that gets all the metal kind of done. And then I'm just going to paint the base colors over top of that, and then start doing the highlights. So I'm taking Hashut Copper, and I'm just picking out some different colors here, there, and everywhere on the guns and all that sort of thing. So just some different highlights. And this gives a bit of a variation on the silk. And you know, later on you can highlight this, or you can put some of the oxide sort of layer on it, or whatever you want to add a bit more variation. Okay, so now everything is getting a Necron Compound dry brush, and that's just gonna bring out those silver bits just a bit more, and I can do some weathering and all that sort of stuff later. But this is just the base coat. And so this should have been done before I did that green. You can see I didn't really do the green on any other guys. So this kind of finishes off the silver, and all I have to do is try to avoid it for the rest of the model. Okay, so Mephiston Red. So I'm using this on kind of the major parts of the gun. That's going to be the kind of the main chassis of the gun, if you will. And so I'm going to do that on all the guys, and then some just little details here, there, and everywhere on the rest of the guys. So the general rules I use for trying to keep units looking like they're units is, especially with orcs where things are pretty random, is picking a color and then doing the same thing on each guy. So in this case, Rhinox Hide is going on their pants. I'm going to do all the leather the same and all the boots the same. But things like red, where it's going to be kind of different on each guy, it's just the rule I usually use is, okay, you know, maybe their shirt is red and then one other piece, or their gun is red and two other pieces. In this guy's case, it's going to be the gun and then maybe something on the glyphs in the back. Okay, so Abaddon Black base coating on the boots, and as well some the glyph sort of stuff and all that thing too. So as you can see, I'm just trying to stay within the lines, and I'm just slowly covering up the silver bits, and I find that kind of a base system works fairly well. Averland Sunset, so the rule I'm using for this one is one of the shoulder pads is going to be yellow, as well as maybe some details here there. But the yellow shoulder pad and then the copper shoulder pad are going to be the kind of the one thing that ties, well, and maybe the red on the gun. That's going to be the common thing that ties everything together. Okay, some Zandri Dust for all of the bone type stuff. So these skulls on the back banners, on the boss poles, I guess they are, as well as their teeth or any other details on the guys. A Mournfang Brown is going to be for all of the leather bits. So that's, yeah, some of these ropes and sort of things on the details there. Any of the straps in their belts and that sort of thing. Okay, Naggaroth Night is going to be the base color for their shirts, and really that's kind of the only purple on these guys. It's a bit tricky to get it, but you're not going to see most of it, so that's fine. Just trying to get some purple that's going to show through a little bit, just to give them that pirate sort of a look. Okay, now with all the base colors done, a bit of Seraphim Sepia wash on the yellows, and I think I do the bones with that as well. Okay, some Stegadon Scale Green. Now this is going to be all the lenses as well as these plasma bits. So however you do those, that's kind of up to you. But the lenses on the targeters, those are going to be done with that sort of a look. I don't really show details of the lenses. That's something different. If you need to do lenses, then check out another tutorial for that. I'm just kind of showing you the overall process here. I'll continue on with the washes, doing the Biel-Tan Green on all the flesh. And yeah, somebody's already commented on my showcase that I didn't drill out the barrels. I really should have, I know. Carroburg Crimson on the red. And really, you know, I think I've said this a million times in these tutorials, I like to do all the base colors, then all of these shades. And once I'm done the shades, it's kind of a home free stretch. All the fun stuff is after that. I like doing the highlights, and this is just kind of all the background work, all the foundation work. that gets you to the point where you can really enjoy pulling out the details of the model. Okay, Agrax Earthshade on all of the bone stuff, as well as any of the browns, and maybe little bits here or there on the silver, just to help add a bit of sort of wear and tear on things. Yeah, there you go. See, so adding a bit of shading on some of that, depending on how shiny it looks and whatever. Okay, so at this point, the model is basically the darkest it's going to be. Everything looks pretty dull and not a lot of detail, so now I'm going to start trying to pull out the details with the various highlights. So the first layer covers most of the base coat and wash. The idea here is that why don't you just start with this color? Well, these layers paints don't go on as well over top of a black or silver, so they're a little bit more transparent. So you need that base color on there first, and the base colors are meant to be slightly stronger pigments, and these will pick that up nicely. The shade helps give you a bit of variation, so you don't have to cover 100%. And yeah, you're just bringing everything up now. And that's the key. So I really like having the models on the tabletop looking nice and bright, on the shelf as well. So getting these layers brightened right up. You may not be realistic looking, but we're talking about orcs with giant guns, so realistic isn't really the objective here. It's just something that looks pretty cool, especially in this scale. You're trying to bring out the details and kind of be a caricature of what the actual thing would look like if it was real. Okay, so Skaven Blight Dinge doing some of the black highlights now. Got some details here, there. So yeah, just trying to pick out some of the edges. I do go back later and pull out some silver edges on that, like it's chip paint or something. But yeah, that black highlighted with a gray looks quite nice. I didn't bother doing any extra details on these guys at the end, like flames on the yellow or checker pattern or anything like that. I just found that there's just so much going on in these models. I didn't really need to do anything additional. Now I've been looking forward to having some nice Flashgitz like this since first edition Freebooters book came out. After Here We Go and Waaagh the Orcs. So it's pretty exciting to see these guys all done together in the same sort of style as Captain Baderick. When he came out a while ago, that was a nice model. It just didn't have any squad to go with him. I remember the black line, really lame looking orcs that they had back then. They were, the style was very, very harsh colors with black lines between everything, so that it was kind of like a cartoony look. I mean, still cartoony, but a different sort of a cartoon, I guess. Okay, so highlighting up all the bone bits here, there, and everywhere with Ushabti and then the Screaming Skull. So the final highlight is always just the very, very edges of things. Kind of the first layer covers 2/3 of the thing, and then the last one maybe a third or even less. Skarsnik Green for some of the flesh. Now I do go later and I do some Keslev flesh on some of the orky bits. Just helps bring out a bit more of a highlight without being too green. So I did that on the knuckles and lips and that sort of thing, but I don't really show that. I mean, this is as far as you need to go, but it depends on what sort of a look you like. Okay, Wild Rider Red for the final red highlight. Oh, no, sorry, it's the second last red highlight, I think. No, this looks like the last one. So just doing the final edges on things. And it just very, very subtle, but it's enough to sort of give your eye the cue that there's, a bit more detail there than you would think for something that small. Okay, Genestealer Purple for some highlighting of the purple bits. And you can see there I'm working on the Terminator Librarian for Space Hulk, as well as the new Blood Angels Librarian Terminator. Ceramite White, for some of the edge highlighting on the yellow. So just to bring out just a little bit of edges, just to make it pop a bit more. If you wanted, you could go over that with a yellow glaze or something. Some of this oxide here on these bronze bits, I just want to make those look a little bit cooler. I really like that turquoisey look on the bronze. It just kind of brings everything out a touch. So just painting it around all the crevices, and the idea is that that's sort of where the oxides would build up. And you can go back later and highlight this, but I don't bother. Okay, some Runefang Steel, so just finishing up some of the silver highlights on things. And as you can see, there's some details on there that I don't really pick out. But you could do a bit more detail on this, and there's just so much detail on these models that you could spend, you know, forever on them. But I tried to get things moving so I could get them completed and move on to the next thing. There's just so many colors on these already that didn't really need to try to make it more complicated than it already was. So yeah, these guys are a lot of fun to paint, a lot of fun to assemble, and yeah, if you want to check out some of the still images, I have images of all these guys for the front and back. You want to use those as guides, but of course you got to use your own imagination for how you've done your own. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure you check out all the other stuff I have on my channel and my blog, and be sure to leave a comment and share this with your other Warhammer friends.